Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting film journey here on Delusions of Grandeur. I am one of your hosts, but today we are going to go on about a good friend of ours, Boris's pick today. But why don't you tell us what film that we've been subjected to this week?
A terrible one, huh? No, just kidding, of course. Uh, the movie I chose for this time is Disney's Maleficent, the live action movie from 2014, which many people by now know is slightly different and a more unique version of Sleeping Beauty. Uh, this is one of my favorite movies, even though it's a fairly new one. I could say it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But we will get into that later. Maybe for now we should check what IMDb says about the movie.
Sure.
So. Uh,
It says go to wiki. IMDb site.
A vengeful fairy is driven to curse an infant princess, only to discover that the child may be the one person who can restore peace to their troubled land. Well, I'm not quite sure that's a correct description.
I mean, it is correct, but it's a little vague.
Yeah. Sometimes they're vague, and sometimes they're a little bit more descriptive. It's like whoever decided to put it up there, it was like, oh, let's put this up quickly.
Pretty much. I mean, there wasn't really that much focus on the princess having to save a land. Like,
I mean,
what?
I would have said, it's Sleeping Beauty from the villain's point of view, and then gone on from there, which they didn't even put on there.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, and in pop culture, we started seeing more, more from like the villain's point of view in like fairy tales. Like I remember there being a novelization of the Three Little Pigs from the wolf's point of view.
I never saw that.
Me neither.
It wasn't a movie; it was a book. So
I never read that.
I did, or at least I was read it by my teachers. Like when I was.
I hate when people read me. Give me the damn book. I'll read myself.
But yeah, and then of course we have novels like Wicked and Mirror Mirror by Mr. McGuire, which eventually became musicals, which is the Wizard of Oz from the point of view of the Wicked Witch, and the point of view of the stepsisters from Cinderella.
They should make those movies.
Yeah, they should.
And Jafar. I want to hear
Wait,
about Jafar. What's
you
Jafar's
said,
point of view?
Well, they did kind of do that in Once Upon a Time in Wonderland.
Not really.
If you said the other book was called Mirror Mirror, shouldn't that be Snow White rather than Cinderella?
I
I
agree.
believe that one was Snow White, and then there was another one that had to do with the ugly stepsisters and the.
Have you guys seen The Huntsman?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a great
that's
Snow
another.
White.
That's another version.
That was a great Snow White adaptation. I really enjoyed.
But yeah, so we've seen a lot of like.
Have you seen the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs porno?
No, but why am I not surprised that it exists?
Oh, of course. This for a long time.
Hey, there are porno
It existed before the internet existed.
But yeah, go ahead and continue.
Oh, so yeah, Maleficent was directed by Robert Stromberg and written by Linda Wolverton, Charles Perrault, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Wilt Banta, yes, written by those, and it stars Angelina Jolie, Elle Fanning or Ellie, not sure how it's pronounced, and Charlton Copley. It says, although I would also like to name Sam Riley, who played Diaval, who is one of my personal favorite characters in the movie. Uh, so yeah, what were your first impressions of the movie, and was this the first time each of you watched it?
Well, why don't we start with Crawl over here? Was this the first time watch for you?
No, I saw
Uh,
it. I saw it back when it first came out. Not in the theaters. I saw it on Disney Plus. Right after it was became free. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Thought it was definitely a neat take on Sleeping Beauty. It was cool to see the so-called villain side. I mean, yeah, she became a villain, but you could definitely, from this point of view, you could see why she became the villain. Um, and also, and she was started as the hero and became a villain, and then she became a hero again. And I loved it. It was a great adaptation. Um, it was a little neat how they changed it. It wasn't Philip's kiss that awoke her. It was Maleficent's kiss. Because Maleficent truly loved Aurora. Um, even though, of
yeah,
course, that was
spoiler
never her.
alert.
That was never her intention. You know. You may say it was awful that she cursed a baby, and yeah, but even she admits herself she was just consumed by anger and hatred and revenge that she didn't even think about. It was just another human to her at the moment, and that was all that was you know turned against her was humans. So you just from her point of view and from that you can understand why she did it, and you know but once she came to her senses and realized that she was wrong, she tried to break the curse, um, using magic, but she did it so well the first time that she couldn't even break her own curse. So yeah, it was a really neat take on it. I really enjoyed it. It was really well done. Yeah, so that was my first impression.
Okay, what about you, Tammy?
No, it definitely was not my first time. I think David and I watched it as soon as it came out on video. We didn't go to the theater, but I remember the ads and everything about it. That it looked really interesting and everything, and it definitely is a unique take on it. Um, we were watching some of the behind the scenes things last night, and if you the comparisons that they were doing to the original cartoon, and they really did try and do a lot of the same things. I mean, the look of Maleficent in the cartoon compared to
Uh,
this is very good, and you know, but they wanted to keep it as true to the cartoon as they could. You know,
yes and no, I would say. I mean, I think they tried to make her look less monstrous and more beautiful. Like, they removed her green face. Okay, there was that moment when she was casting the curse and the green smoke appeared and her face appeared somewhat green for a moment.
well,
But
yeah,
other.
and the original one did not have wings. So that,
Yeah.
but when we were watching that, and they were bouncing back and forth, showing you pictures of the cartoon and pictures of this movie, and you know it was good. They had an interview with Aurora, and very nice, very nice girl. And she said she studied the cartoon so that she could be as close to the Aurora in the cartoon. And
Ooh.
I really liked it. I liked the storyline and everything. I like that, you know, she was she was good, and then she was bad, but then she was good, and then and the scenery, and all the little creatures and everything. I love that little porcupine. That little porcupine is just so cute.
Well, that little porcupine wasn't in there until the second movie.
We saw a glimpse of them here and there, but we saw the glimpse of the mushroom and the little porcupine, and all the little creatures. Just the trees. I think were my favorite though. I like the trees. I thought that those were. I thought the how they made the trees was really cool, really neat. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it enough that I got the second one too. So
And I guess
Mhm.
I watched it when Tammy wanted to see it. In fact, Tammy wanted to see it more than I did at the time. Because she kept telling me about the trailers that I was never seen on TV because she was home and I was working. So, um, I believe she got her copy of Maleficent before I got mine. So we watched her copy of that, and then
yeah, because that's when you worked nights and I worked days, and I would see all the commercials at night in between the shows.
yep. So oftentimes the hype would come from her. So, but once I saw it, I thought it was an interesting adaptation of the story. I wasn't sure about Ella Ella's chops as acting because I knew Dakota, her sister, and I'd seen her in a bunch of things.
Who plays Aurora?
Aurora is played by Ella Fanning.
Oh, okay, it's Dakota's sister. Okay, her younger sister.
It's her younger sister, yes.
No,
So,
I didn't know that.
yep. But I believe she also Ella played in the Twilight series, if I remember correctly, as one of the female vamps that were.
I know Dakota was on there, but
Was it Dakota?
yeah, Dakota was on there definitely.
Okay, yeah. Then it was Dakota. They look alike as they grew up, but I actually like Ella more, I guess, as far as her prettiness.
I was going to say, yeah, Ella's a little prettier. Not that Dakota isn't, but
No.
Ella has a little more of the girl next door type look.
And the way I think about them as siblings is the way I thought as Ella advanced in film acting. It seems like Ella has outshined her sister lately.
Well, when we watched the behind the scenes, Ella said that when she got asked for this, that she had always wanted to be like a princess, and when she got asked for it, she was like, "Oh, well, the cartoon character's pretty and has blonde hair like me," and and she thought she thought to herself that she would probably fit really well, and then when she realized Angelina was going to be in it, she was even more excited. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And I was excited that Angelina Jolie was going to be in it because I've seen her many times, and I swear Angelina Jolie is a sex symbol in films, kind of. ever since ever since I saw the movie Hackers and saw her in Gaia and saw her as Laura Croft, Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider. That's the
Um,
one where I'm just like, oh my god.
yeah.
What's the one with her and her husband are both trying to kill
Oh,
each
that's
other?
Mr. and Mrs.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
That one was awesome. I like that.
I owned that movie at one time.
She also plays a cameo as a monster in the movie Beowulf.
Really?
From 2004, which is kind of sexy. So, but in any case,
My sister actually had a crush on her when she was doing Tomb Raider 2. Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider 2. Yeah. I bought her a poster.
And the last movie that we saw her in was Those Who Wish Me Dead, which she looks a little older in there, but it was still a good movie.
She is older.
Yeah,
Still looks good though.
Yeah, she still looks good for her age. But yeah, I was impressed with the story. I was impressed with the special effects. I as well did like the trees and the way that they made them, the different creatures, and the fact that it seems like this King Stefan, who apparently grew up with her, just turned into an obsessed person, and the way he treated his kingdom towards the end, that was but in any case, I enjoyed the movie. I think I enjoy both of them. It's like two different stories that we never got from Disney that came to light, and I'm glad that we got these. It's definitely different thinking that the villains that we know are.
Now we just need Cruella too.
Yeah,
Cruella, yeah, we do.
Cruella was another recent one that came to light, where they heroized the villain.
She was always a hero in my eyes.
What? Okay, I do like Cruella as a character a lot, but call her a hero. Okay, this new version, yeah, but in the
Get those damn
version,
dogs.
Find them. Get them. I don't care what you do. Get those puppies.
I want the job done tonight.
Glenn Close was interesting as Cruella back in the live-action versions too.
Oh yeah, I loved to impersonate that version of Cruella. More good women have been lost to marriage than to war, famine, disease, and disaster. You have talent, darling. Don't squander it. Sorry.
You could almost do the same voice with Maleficent here, because she does have kind of a British sounding voice whenever whenever she says, well.
Well, they were definitely English. I mean, the fairies. I mean, like the heavier one. She's like, you guys are having a go at me when Maleficent was putting the rain on them. That's a total English comment. That's not American at all. We don't say you have a go at me. That's a English thing. So even the writer, I think, might be English, or British, or she just wrote that line for her to be like British. Like,
Well, I think one of the things I like about this movie is that the whole concept of the curse and everything, the fact that she seemed to follow Aurora to where they sequestered away from,
yeah,
and it's like she caused a few things, but she was like almost teasing, almost
yeah, she
teasing.
messed with the fairies, which was funny.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
having fun causing mischief.
Yeah, yeah, she didn't hurt them or anything, and she even saved Aurora. So like, look, the little beast is gonna go off the cliff, and she did, but then she saved her. And the crow just looks at her and she's like, "What?"
The Crow is an interesting character too.
It was a great character. He was her conscience. Even she ended up finding her conscience, but even before she had one, he was basically her conscience.
And I know that there was a crow in the original cartoon, but
Yeah.
it's been a long time since I've seen the original cartoon.
Yeah, same here.
And when I do have like the 2-disc version that they had of it for like many years, but I would like to like pick up like a remastered version of Sleeping Beauty, because I know they've remastered it since that 2-disc that I have, and
Of course
I
they
know
did.
colorized it and whatnot and made it.
They know people like you will want to go out and buy it.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing it a little bit more crisper.
Yeah, but you can see it without buying it, but you're gonna buy it. So
Eventually, yeah, because having it on physical will be better than them vaulting it after a while.
say so.
Well, Disney will vault all of their films they don't want you to watch at any given point in time, because they can do that. But anyways, get us started with the plot here.
Well, I didn't get to say my first impressions.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we kind of got carried away.
Try to
So,
skip the host.
sorry, Kroll, what did you say?
I said he's trying to skip the host.
Yeah.
Not entirely, no.
So
That's okay. He always skips me.
this,
Well,
of
You always
course,
say that you're never ready.
Touche.
This of course wasn't the first time I watched it. Before today I watched it at least 5 or 6 times. The first time was, I think, a few months after it came out. Unfortunately, I missed it in the theaters. And as soon as I watched it, I deeply regretted not seeing it in the theaters. When I watched this movie for the first time, I absolutely fell in love with it, especially with Maleficent as a character, the way she was portrayed here. I would say that's pretty much my idea of a perfect woman when it comes to personality, and I wouldn't complain about her looks either, of course. At the time when I watched this movie for the first time, I was suffering from depression, and after I watched this movie for several days, I felt like the world was suddenly more beautiful than it had been.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, this movie really impressed me a lot. I know some fans of the old Disney classics would say this is blasphemy on my part, but I actually prefer this version
I do
much more
too.
than the original. Although I bought a DVD of the original because of this one. Because of this one, I also wanted to have this one.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, I liked how they kept everything close to the original, and just subtly changed a couple things to make it seem like it's possible. Because whenever a story is told, things always get changed, right? So
Mm,
supposedly this is from Aurora's point. Like Aurora is the one who actually tells the story. You find out that it's her voice in the beginning. It's Aurora. So
yes.
and since she's the one who was there, supposedly, I put in quotations, that she would know how it went, how it went down. And so I love how instead of her Maleficent turning herself into a dragon, she turned the crow into a dragon.
Yeah, and she didn't die at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. Oh, definitely love that because she was great.
I wish we had gotten a proper live action adaptation of The Sword and the Stone, which was another.
Well, we have,
Like,
but just not Disney's
Mm,
version.
you're talking
yeah,
I
Sorcerer.
saw Sword in the Stone back in the '80s, but
and another thing I really liked about this version is that it's much more action packed than this one. Like in the original, we get a lot of singing that's just filler that doesn't contribute much to the plot, and the Pixies got a little too much screen time without doing many plot relevant things either. And this version, I would say, did that much better. They,
I loved how they looked. I mean, they looked just like the little fairies from the cartoon too, like
yes,
live action. I mean, they did such an incredible job with the makeup and the costumes. I mean, they looked exactly in the casting, was perfect, perfect for the fairies. And then when they grew up and became adults, it was just it was. I mean, obviously that's what they normally look like, but it was just perfect. They did such a great
And if
job.
you notice, there's a scene where, okay, when the christening of the child,
Christening,
the one with all the banners and stuff,
yeah, the
that,
christening.
yeah, that particular scene with all the banners and stuff, shown by the people of the kingdom, that
Yeah,
was actually in the animated version.
yeah. Oh, I know. The one thing they changed too, they didn't do on this one though, was the part where the whole kingdom was asleep.
Yeah, uh,
uh,
part of the original curse was that once she
I
put her
think
finger in
I
there,
think she was
it was like
actually
100
doing
years of
that.
sleep or something like
I
that.
think she was. If you listen to her at the end when she's about to kiss her, she was saying something about that. So I think she was actually adding that. And then she kissed her, and Aurora awoke, so it never came to fruition. But I'm pretty sure that was the intent, that she was actually going to put the whole kingdom to sleep until Aurora awoke, and then she kissed her, and she woke. So they
uh,
might have been asleep for like a second.
but wait, in this version, there was, as far as I remember, no word about the whole kingdom going to
Well,
sleep.
yeah, but the way
Not in
she,
this version, but
if you watch the last part right before she kisses her, listen to what she says. The way she
Yes,
says it, she says something about you'll never miss anything or something, and says a few other things. Just so the way she didn't say the words like the whole kingdom will sleep, but the way she says it, like basically it's the whole kingdom will sleep, but she says that you won't miss anything. So because she's saying it from a point of love for Aurora, not in a hatred for the kingdom, but so Aurora doesn't miss anything, you know. Um, and
but what does that have to do with the idea of the whole kingdom going to
well,
sleep?
so she didn't
because
miss
in the
anything
original,
because she would have woken up like say 10 years later, right? And everyone would have been 10 years older, and she would have missed all that time, and she would, everybody, it would be like people were in a coma and they wake up 10 years later, and just like, they missed 10 years of their life and stuff
yeah,
like that.
the
So instead,
original,
so
the original Sleeping Beauty
Interesting.
had the curse happen to everyone once she
yeah,
pricked her finger,
yeah,
and then they were asleep for like. Well, the original story, if I remember correctly, was that they were asleep for 100 years, and then
no,
Prince Philip came along.
no, it was still until Love's Kiss.
Uh, Yeah, there in some versions there is something about the whole kingdom sleeping for 100 years, but if I remember correctly, in this version
No,
they
it
didn't
does
really
not happen.
do that, or
Yeah,
Oh,
did
they,
they?
they
they did
I,
do it in that one.
um, well, okay, I don't remember exactly, but I remember the prince killed Maleficent,
Well, that was
and
afterwards.
yeah.
Because
but
the prince ended up coming to the castle and finding her sleeping, and then once he kissed her, that was true love's kiss, and then she
And
went
he
to
didn't even know her.
the castle. He
He
didn't even
hadn't
know
he hadn't met her previously in the original.
her. And uh,
yeah,
once she awoke and everybody in the kingdom reawoke, that's when Maleficent got angry, and that's when she did all her dragon
Yeah, turned into a dragon and yeah.
and it wasn't her crow that did in the first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They changed that, which
Yep.
I liked. I liked
no,
the way they changed it, and it was neat.
I have to rewatch that because I don't really remember hardly anything. And when we were watching the behind the scenes last night and they were showing scenes from the original, I didn't recognize anything because I've I don't know I haven't watched it very
Yes, I thought
much.
I
It's
forget
been
stuff,
so
oldie.
long, you know. See,
yeah.
unless my great grandma took me to things or whatever, I missed out a lot on when I was a kid on the Disney movies and stuff because my mom didn't care about me seeing them or care to take me to them or
My
anything
mother
like
loved
that.
all of it,
So
so I got to see whether I wanted to or not. Well, I did want to, but
Your mom cared about you, cared about herself and herself only.
and her
no.
car, and her
Oh,
car,
her mom. Oh, Tammy's mom.
Yeah.
and the car.
So you got that in common with your mom, the car part, anyways.
Well, mom cared about the car more than anything else.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Oh,
That's why I didn't really want the car to begin with.
I can see that.
Mhm.
So
But now you got your final revenge. Haha, ma, I got your car.
And you're winning awards.
I
So
guess that's one way to look at it.
uh,
in any case, let's get back to the plot line.
yeah, finally.
Well, hey, you're the one that took forever on your intro.
uh, sorry.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
Go ahead
Uh,
and
so
start out the plot line. I know we didn't really start on the plot, so in the very beginning we get
yeah,
a very like uh, shall we
we
In the
say
get
beginning, there was a girl, not like any other girl. She was a fairy.
yeah. Before that, we get some scenery, and we hear Aurora's voice, which at first we are not supposed to know it's Aurora, but at the
Yeah, I
end
thought it was
we find
Maleficent
out.
at first.
Uh, yeah, so she tells us about there being two kingdoms, which we didn't really hear it that way. The original one human kingdom where a king lives with everything humans care for, like wealth, power, and stuff like that. This other kingdom called the Wars where they don't really have a king or a queen because they all trust each other. But yeah, there is this one fairy which at that point is still a little girl, which is Maleficent, as we find out shortly afterwards. And yeah, at the beginning we see her as a little girl, an innocent version of herself. and we see her healing broken branch of a tree, which which is a way to let us know from the very beginning that that she started out as a good person before some shit happened to her. Uh,
That was the way that happened, right?
uh, Sorry, what did you say?
I said it's always the way it happens, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Anakin Skywalker. He didn't start out bad.
Mm, yeah, indeed. And yeah, then at that same beginning, before Angelina takes over, we also get to know the young King Stefan, which at this point we don't really know he's going to be a king.
Yeah, he
Not
knew he
even
was going to
when
live in the castle, but he figured as a servant, you know. So
uh, yeah, although maybe someone who remembers his name from the original might figure
right,
out it's him, but when I watched it the first time, I didn't really remember it. So, uh,
I get it.
yeah, at first, the movie kind of misleads us into thinking he was about to be a good character and her future romantic partner or something like that.
Yeah,
But things go very wrong shortly afterwards. And okay, maybe not right away, but later on
well,
when
he fucking
Maleficent,
betrays her to become king.
yeah, pretty much. So, what do you all think about
Bastard.
this beginning? Exactly.
It was great. You know, it was really cool how they met each other and you know immediately he threw the iron ring away so he could hold her hand again and you know which you know melted her heart you know right then and you know of course she was still a young girl so you know she didn't know anything of the evils of the world and you know so there were just two kids you know enjoying each other and having a little puppy love you know um, so that's what
But
I
Mm,
thought.
unfortunately, the real world corrupts people.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
that's what I'm
boy,
saying.
he wanted to be in that castle,
Well,
and
he was already in the castle, but he realized he could become king because he could do what nobody else could. He could get close to her and betray her.
mm,
Right?
yeah. Well, at the very beginning, although he maybe did seem like a good person, there were some red flags that we notice only the second time we watch it. Like the whole thing with him stealing something from the wars, some gemstones or something
It
like
looked just
that.
like a rock to me. So it wasn't. I don't think it was that big of a deal. I
it
think
was
he.
like a crystal that was in the water, and I think it was something that made the water look prettier for the fairies and stuff. It was like
Yeah, he just
a
he thought it
crystal.
was something. I don't think he was stealing like monetarily. He was just a kid, so I think he just thought it was pretty, so he wanted to pick it up like a rock, you know, even though it
I
was
think
a rock,
so
you know.
too. I don't think he
Yeah,
meant
yeah,
anything by it.
I don't think that was an evil intent
He's
at
he's
all.
a little bit more innocent at this point in time, and
Yeah.
it does seem like he does like Maleficent in some
Oh
fashion.
yeah, I think he liked her a lot. I mean, he threw his ring away immediately when it hurt her, you know, and so he could, you know, be able to touch her hand again and not hurt her, you know. So you know, he immediately liked her, and you know, and I think you know, like when he kissed her, you know, he meant that it was true love's kiss, you know, because that's how he felt. It was, you know, of course, that was still before he fell to the trappings of power and greed.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
what do you say, Dave?
Oh, as far as the beginnings of this intro to Maleficent and all that jazz.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. You get to see what she looked like as a young thing. I mean, we don't get that she's a dark fae until like the second movie. So, um,
Mm.
but she's just a fairy, with horns.
Yeah,
But
like in the first movie, they never really explained why she is the only fairy with horns and the only one that's much bigger than all other fairies and
correct.
stuff like that.
So in a sense, she's kind of a leader of these people
Well,
of
she
the
becomes the protector. They didn't
yeah,
call her
Yes.
leader; they called her the protector of the land,
yeah.
of the Moors, or defender.
So a very young fairy that seems to be a protector of magical folk. So, and I guess I guess she does. Whoever plays her to a T. So, and I do think that the boy who plays the young eventually king is very innocent at this time, but eventually he does get turned by greed, just like many.
I mean,
Uh,
he did still care enough about her not to kill her, but in hindsight, I mean, what he did to her probably felt worse than death. You know, losing her
Uh,
wings like that. So,
yes.
in his mind, he may have been sparing her life, but he was dooming her to a life without being able to fly. And when I can imagine being able to fly your whole life, and then all of a sudden, boom, your wings are clipped. I mean, she couldn't even walk at first because she was used to her wings helping her walk. So she had to make that awesome looking fucking staff. Um, you know, which
Oh,
was fucking
oh, yeah.
awesome. But yeah, she needed it to walk. It was a walking stick at first, not just a it wasn't a magical staff. It was just a walking stick because she didn't know how to walk without her wings.
Actually, yeah, you made an interesting point. I watched this movie several times and I never actually noticed that she wasn't able to walk properly when her
Yeah,
wings were
yeah.
cut
Look, when
off.
she went to stand up, she kept, walked and then she started to fall over, and and that's when she made the staff because she didn't know how to walk. Because imagine the wings was
Uh,
part of her balance. So it wasn't just
I,
they weren't just for flight; they were just for all kinds of movement. 'Cause she was born with the wings. So. It's just like a bird. If you clip a bird's wings, so the bird can't fly. Well, the bird probably wouldn't be able to walk too well either because it's used to having the wings.
it, it did. Uh, yeah, that's it. When he cut her wings off, it was kind of shocking the first time, and I thought it was surprisingly dark for a Disney movie.
well,
But
yeah,
Well,
he
they
dropped.
don't really show it.
Well,
I
he
mean,
was
they just
supposed to
show
actually
yeah,
kill her,
they
Yeah,
show the tool. They show the tool, and then they show her without her wings. So you don't actually see
yeah,
the but
but he
yeah.
was supposed
but
to kill her, and he
I
couldn't
mean,
bring
yeah,
himself to do
he
it.
had the dagger, but
the
he still had feelings for her enough to that he couldn't kill her. He couldn't do it. He could not kill her. And I'm thinking he was probably thinking in hindsight he should have killed her. Like later on, but
Yeah,
probably.
he certainly wasn't
Yeah, but
holding back in the fight against her later on.
the first time I watched it, when he visited her and said he came to warn her, the first time when I didn't know what to expect, I didn't realize that he
Yeah,
had
yeah, same
actually.
here. I was just like, oh, cool. He's warning her, and that's great. And then they're sitting together and drinking, and then when she passes out and he's like has the dagger, I'm like, holy fuck, he's gonna betray her. Like it was just so shocking the first time. Like it came out of left field. You totally don't see that coming. Um, even if you knew his name was Stephen and he'd one day be the king, you still wouldn't think that he went that route to get there. It totally was a total shock the first time I saw it. You know, because
Indeed.
they were like young lovers. They had fallen in love, and yeah, he had been gone for a while. But you never forget your first love. They always say that, and you don't.
Yeah.
He was just obviously she became so comfortable with him, and I mean, he may have been ready to betray her, but he wasn't completely faking it. You can't fake those feelings. So he still had those feelings. He was just being so greedy that he didn't care about his feelings, and he still wanted to become king.
Uh, yeah, actually, it was an interesting moment of an inner conflict on his part. Like, a part of him maybe did still care about her, but
Well, yeah, I mean
his
that's why he didn't kill her.
uh, yeah, and but yeah, his greed and I guess resentment at having grown up in poverty, that was stronger than the way he felt about her.
Yep.
But hey, we forgot the totally badass moment earlier when the old king attacked the wars and Maleficent went on him. That was brilliant.
Yeah, that was. And she used her. That's when we saw her use her wings to their full
Ye-
capacity.
Oh yeah, that
ye-
fight against the other king was great.
Indeed, I really loved how when he showed up and he spoke to her in a patronizing voice, and she was like, "You are no king to me."
Yeah, I loved how they had fucking the tree people uh riding on wargs. That was kind of neat.
That whole fight scene was really cool.
Yeah,
Oh, it was. It
It
was.
had
I
that
mean,
that
I mean,
snake.
that big army was there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna destroy these fucking stupid fucking woods folk." And then it was like they saw the fucking woods folk, and man, if I was in that army, I'd be fucking running. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, with that snake was really cool. That snake that came up and
Yeah,
underneath.
she's like, rise and fight with me, and they'll like come right up from the ground and fucking. It was like fucking yeah, fuck. This ain't gonna be no fucking picnic.
oh yeah.
If I would have been them guys, I'm with you, girl. Once I saw that stuff come up out of the ground and start coming at me, I'd be like, "Oh shit!"
That's why I said I'd be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
Desertion.
one interesting thing I noticed about all the creatures of the wars is that in the daylight they look like fantasy creatures, but with the same design when they appear during the night, they look a little more like horror creatures.
Well, they were mad. They weren't all happy and smiling and stuff. They were pissed off because this army's trying to destroy them. So
Oh yeah.
they had to show their mean face.
He was trying to destroy them because they were magical creatures, and he.
And he wanted their power for himself
Hmm.
Yeah.
because he's a greedy son of a bitch.
But after the battle, and after she loses her wings, she ends up wandering a little bit, and then she finds a crow being um, sadistically beaten, and she frees him from
Yeah,
that.
she turns him into a human, which
Yeah.
frees him from the net, and the people run away. So, the guy runs away screaming, "Demon!" You gotta like that part, right,
I like when
Boris?
he first realizes he's human and he's looking all around, like, "Where's my feathers? Where's my tail? Where's my?" He's checking himself out, like, what?
what did you do to me? You know, my beautiful self. He's like, you turned my beautiful. And she's like, I saved you, and then he's like, oh yes, thank you. But of course, at first she was just kind of like, you changed me. Like, I'd rather be dead.
But
Mm.
and then I guess he swears his allegiance to her, and eventually it's like she becomes her own personal shapeshifter, as well as what she calls him. You will be my wings. You know.
I
Mm.
like what Kroll said earlier. He becomes kind of like her conscience, her, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm.
Yeah, which he
That's
was.
true. And also, one thing I noticed was that he was probably also secretly in love with her, which is one of my major disappointments in the second movie. That this first movie gave us hopes of them possibly getting together in the future,
See,
but
I never really saw that.
I never saw that. I actually thought that he had. It's possible that they could have
Had
had
him
him
be
become Aurora's
Aurora's prince. Yeah,
intended to be. You know.
yeah. Like
well,
he could have taken the human name of Philip and been the Philip from the story. But
yeah, which is funny
Very
enough my real name. Uh, but one of the moments, well, okay, we will get to that later, but I may as well say it now. Later on, when Maleficent tells him, I cursed her that way because there is no such thing as true love, and then Diaval says, well, maybe you feel that way, but, and then at least I had the impression that he wanted to say, but I don't feel that way, I actually love you, but
yeah, I
he
didn't.
decided not to say that, and he said, but what about Aurora?
Yeah, I don't. I don't see that. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, I didn't really see that he was in love with her. He was indebted to her for
Yeah. What?
her having to save his life. And honestly, she kind of like used and abused his power, his shape shifting for her. You know,
Well, he
he
didn't shapeshift. She turned him into
yeah,
things.
she did,
Well, can
but
you can you blame
to
him
me, the first
for
time that she turned him into anything and helped her out with anything, that should have been like it, you know. What you know, you saved my life. Okay, I give you one good deed. You know.
No, I mean, I mean, if you think about Chewbacca and stop back to Star Wars again, I mean, he had a life. He was a life debt. He stayed with Han Solo his entire life until, well, in Legends he dies and canon, you know, until Han dies. But yeah, I mean, even in the Legends, he not only protected Han, but he protected Leia because you know they got together, and then their kids. So he had a life debt for the whole family. I mean, maybe no, I don't know if most Wookiees do the life debt for the whole family or not, but life debt is means you know you saved my life, so now my life is dedicated to protecting you.
yeah, well, maybe, but there was also the moment near the end when she told him he didn't have to follow her into the castle because it was
Yeah.
dangerous and stay here and be safe. But no, he went with her, and I was
Well, he
like,
was like, well, he was like, oh, you know, you could have said, you know, no, I can't do this without you. Whatever. He was just kind of, he was kind of a little upset that she was just like willing, not even saying, oh, she needs him. You know, I think he just wanted to be needed. Not, yeah, I
yeah,
don't think, I
but
don't. He doesn't really feel like he was in love with her. He just felt like he needs to be needed. You know, and she was just like,
but
you know, I can do this without you. You know what I'm saying?
But why would he want to be needed by her if he didn't have feelings for her?
Oh, because he cares for her, but I don't think he was in love with her. You know, he cared for her as a dear friend because they grew a friendship. You know, even though she did use him to a degree, um, she's they were still friends. You know.
Well, maybe I don't know, but generally I am. Otherwise, I am not really one of those people who see romances in fiction where they don't really exist. But in this case, I really got those
I actually
vibes from
usually do.
Diaval.
Yeah, I didn't. I personally didn't see it here, so yeah.
Yeah, me
uh,
too. I didn't really see it myself. So
What about you, Tammy?
I think their relationship was more of a
platonic.
um like a I want to say respectful, more of a in awe or more of an indebted to her, and I think that's basically how it was at the beginning. And I think that their relationship grew more of
Friendship.
a friend a loving friendship, but not a romantic love.
Yeah, platonic love, like Dave said, platonic.
Right, a love, that they would do anything for each other and they cared about each other, but that's as far as it went. I think I think he was more infatuated with Aurora
Yeah,
than he was
I agree.
with Maleficent.
when did you get that impression?
Just the first way he saw her, and then even as a young girl, he was always there, playing with her and
Well,
protecting
he
her.
took care
And
of
then
her.
yeah, and then when he got older, the way he looked at her like with love, and not just like as like a brother or father, like in love type thing.
Even though, in
Right.
a sense, he was kind of like a surrogate father, in a sense. You know.
Right.
Mm. Uh, well, okay, now I didn't get that impression, although I did hear some people say they thought like he had feelings for Aurora, but
Yeah.
no, I didn't get that impression myself. But okay, uh,
Oh,
I know
you're
that if
outvoted.
I was, uh, I
Maybe
know that
you
if I
wanted
was.
them to have a bona fide porno session. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing Angelina Jolie. Boom.
Well, I
Boing.
know that if I was there, well, I would fall in love with Maleficent
Well,
right
of course
away.
she's gorgeous and powerful. You know, but yeah.
I think the best way to describe their relationship really was he basically became her conscience. He brought out, because of him being there, he would help her make the better decisions, and he would help her, curve
Right
back,
on.
like when she was doing her little tricks against the little fairies, and having fun. He would look at her, and then she would she would like back off.
What? That
Well,
was fun.
I like how she's like, what? It was funny. It was. I laughed.
Right, but I
let's,
think I think he helped keep her in check, you know, so that she didn't go
uh,
too far with her fun,
So she didn't become malevolent, Maleficent.
yeah. Uh, but yeah, it really was funny how she was with those three. Let's be fair, those three were dumbasses, and they kind of had it coming.
They were just really sweet and yeah.
They were very sweet, but they had not a clue of what they were doing.
No.
Oh,
No, when the baby was crying, they said, "Well, maybe it's hungry." So she goes and pulls out some like
Yeah, he's like, so
carrots
we'll
from
feed
the
it.
garden and puts it on top of the baby like it's gonna eat it like that.
Yeah.
yeah, fucking hell.
Well,
How
she
would
doesn't
you
know
like
how to.
some raw
She doesn't know how
raw?
to take care of a human baby.
I mean, how would you like some carrots with roots just thrown on top of your cradle?
Roots.
Ew, not even as an adult.
What's a root?
They're not exactly Bugs Bunny carrots.
in,
All right, we
in,
need to be moving along there, guys.
Yep.
ooh,
Just
yeah,
put her foot down. Let's go.
So about where are we in the plot
Cuts the
line?
wings. He cuts her
I was
wings and becomes king.
oh oh yeah, we got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Uh, so yeah, then Diaval he becomes her wings, like he can fly away in the form of a crow and find out what's happening without anyone noticing him as anything suspicious, and he brings the information to Maleficent. So first she finds out the reason why Stefan did what he did to begin with, that he did it in order to become king, and that's what infuriates her and starts turning her evil. Uh, and then shortly afterwards, through Diaval, she finds out that the king and the queen have a baby and that there would be a christening. And that's when
Grand
she comes up.
celebration. A grand
Yes.
celebration for her baby. How wonderful.
Oh, yeah. How wonderful.
I love how she said that.
Yeah.
So that's when we are introduced to well, actually, this is not when we are introduced to the three fairies, but the three fairies that um show up to the christening. They have their own blessings that they have come with, I believe.
The first one, Beauty,
Yep. And the
Mm.
second one,
that she'll never be blue. She'll always be happy. And the third
um,
one never got to finish.
nope, she never got
Y-
to
y-
finish because that's when
Maleficent showed up.
Maleficent showed up, and
mm.
what a show up, hey?
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I love
Although
that.
I think we can tell what the third fairy was going to give her. She said something like, "So that you find,"
True
and then
love, probably.
Maleficent.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Uh, uh, but yeah, that's when Maleficent shows up, and I think that's my favorite scene of the whole
Yeah, it
movie.
was definitely it was an immense scene. She had such presence there. I mean, it was just like she shows up and she's like, "Oh, I feel upset." I forget exactly what she said, but basically that she wasn't invited. And then he's like, "You're not welcome here," and he's like, "Oh, what a predicament," and and and
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh well, perhaps I should give her a gift of my own." And he's like, "No, we don't want your gift." And she goes over there and starts the curse, and then he starts begging, and she's like, "I like you begging. Go on." And he like goes on his knees and begs, and she's like,
oh.
"Okay." She was not
I,
never
She
I,
awakened
decided to
until
take up
true
the
love kiss,
you
which in her mind meant she was still never awake. So basically, she wasn't giving him anything in her mind because the true love's kiss didn't exist because of what he did to her.
oh
So
yeah, like she made him kneel and humiliate himself in front of everyone, and then
yeah,
she walkingly had mercy on him by kind of
Well,
creating
she
a
wasn't
way
thinking of his
for.
mercy because the way she felt, Love's kiss didn't exist. So therefore, you
Yeah,
know,
like
yeah,
it was fake mercy, like she was
yeah,
just
exactly,
mocking him with it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really love that first because of how she screwed him over with that, and also it's an interesting twist from the original story where the reason why she cursed her actually
Because
was
she
because
wasn't invited.
yeah, uh, yeah,
This
and in
this
this
makes more
version.
sense. This makes way more sense why she would be so mad. Like just not being invited, you could see being upset, but like to put a curse on the kid for not being invited, that's a little bit rough.
Yeah, like maybe on the king and the queen, not an innocent baby. Come on.
Yeah.
uh,
Well, not even that. I mean, she was snubbed. She was snubbed not being invited, but that's not any reason to go murderous. I mean, even if Maleficent has been bad, like I don't see her, wanting to kill everyone. Wanting to, have this huge curse just because she wasn't invited. I mean, it was kind of a plot hole in the original story. I mean, I know it's for kids, but growing older, it definitely seems to be a big plot hole. Like, why would she go through all of this just because she wasn't invited? But when with this
mm,
story and this version of it, it makes a lot more sense of
well,
she
in
did.
the original, if she did have the power to do that, okay, I can somewhat see why she would do it just because she could. But then, yeah,
No, I don't
after
see
that,
that.
she spent the next 16 years sending her creatures to hunt for Aurora and things like that. Like she became obsessed with it. Instead of just casting the curse and moving on, she
I
like
suppose
it
at least
became.
the curse did not uh, get. It was implemented like here, but it wasn't until her 16th birthday because she was just a kid, um, not even not even yet like long a baby. um,
Oh, well, in the
I
original,
guess
she
at least
also
the curse
mentioned.
doesn't start until she's 16 is kind of kind of a reprieve, you know.
Uh, I think in the original, she also said before the sun sets on her 16th birthday.
Yeah, yeah, it did. But the thing is she probably knew that the king would freak out and destroy all the spindles and send Aurora away to be saved and stuff. So basically, he never knew the love of of his daughter, and the daughter never knew the love of her parents. Yes, she had these three aunts, but she never knew her parents. She thought their parents were dead, so she was cursed from the beginning. If you think about it that way, you know.
Uh, mm,
Because
yeah. Uh,
the parents, I mean, she got her revenge against them because they here's her their baby that they just had, and now they both lost their baby. Basically, I mean, she was still alive, but they never
uh,
knew her because they
yeah,
sent her
well, when you
away.
put it that way, she did cause pain to the queen as well, who was technically innocent in the whole thing.
Right, but in her mind, there was no innocent humans anymore because the one human she thought was great and awesome, she fell in love with, betrayed her. So in her mind, that was all humans were evil.
Indeed.
Yep.
And also
Especially
another.
at that moment, she only had hatred and revenge in her heart, like she said. So she was so consumed by all that she you know, didn't even think of anything else.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, after this whole curse was placed on the the goodly child of the kingdom named Aurora. The king wanted to sequester her away so that she could be protected by these fairies that he sends her with. And meanwhile, while she's being sequestered in this forest cabin or whatever till her 16th birthday, he's like preparing the kingdom for um, the next time that Maleficent shows up, and he gets rid of all the spindles with needles, said, or tries to, I guess. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does get rid of them all, but she created one magically when she made that curse, so it didn't matter that he got rid of all the physical ones.
Yeah, because it was gonna appear regardless.
Yeah, because it was part of the. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if he got rid of all of them because the curse happened. Therefore, it would happen. So obviously, one would magically appear, whether he got rid of them or not, and of course she pricked herself whether she wanted to or not. She had no will to stop herself.
Uh, yeah, although speaking of which, did anyone ever wonder, like, I think in every version of Sleeping Beauty, we get the thing of her pricking her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel, but has anyone ever wondered, even if that did happen to someone, how exactly would they die from that?
Well, they wouldn't. They would just get a prick from it. But she got cursed. She didn't die. She just was slept forever.
Yeah, the needle was cursed.
In, in this version, yeah, but I think in the original, Maleficent actually cursed her to die, but then the
No,
third fairy.
no, she didn't
No,
curse her to die. She
she
cursed her
didn't
to.
curse her to
She
die.
cursed the whole kingdom to fall asleep.
Yep,
Oh,
and she was the only reason why. The only way that she could be saved is from true love's kiss.
yeah, but I think in the original it was not in the very first story, but in this version, I think the third fairy was the one who gave her the gift because she hadn't given it sooner, and she used that gift for her to be able to be awakened by a true love's kiss.
I think you're right there.
Yeah, that might be. It wasn't Maleficent who gave that right in that
No.
version. It was the third. So,
But I like the way they did it in this version, making him
Did
beg and then her evilly saying, "Okay, we'll give you true love's kiss," which in her
which
mind
kind of
she didn't
gives
believe.
her an out from death. So,
But in her mind, it doesn't. In Maleficent's
correct.
mind.
Yeah.
But anyways, she. When she came by the window of the child, I guess some of the behind the scenes said she kept scaring the kid. So she kept
I
feeling bad. She kept feeling bad because every time she'd come and appear, the kid would look all frightened.
yeah, and I also heard something like in the scene when Aurora is a little older, when she is about to fall from the cliff and Maleficent saves her. I heard they had to cast Angelina Jolie's daughter for that scene because
Yeah,
all
because
other
she was the
little
only
girls
one.
were.
She was the only one who wouldn't react to her the same way as that kid did. So
Yeah, yeah, like everyone else was afraid of her. I think it was
That's
because
funny.
of the horns.
Probably.
Uh,
yeah, and in the behind the scenes, you actually get to see Brad Pitt on the set just a little bit. So that's kind of cool. So,
Oh.
because Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie were a couple at that point in time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, an on and off couple. I'm not sure if they're married still or not.
Uh,
Who
I
knows?
don't know either.
They've been off and on forever.
But
All I know is he was with Jennifer Aniston for a while.
Well, at
I
least
told
it's better.
I told Jennifer that Brad was crazy to leave her.
Right?
I added her as a friend on some social media. I forget which one it was, and I talked to her briefly. It was MySpace a long time ago.
but in any case, so after she's watched her grow up, and they've kind of become sort of friends because she starts calling her godmother, or she thinks
Yeah,
she
her fairy godmother is what she called her.
because she's seen her shadow follow her
Yeah.
ever since she was little.
Yeah.
And she also has a moment where she meets young Prince Philip on his way to the castle.
A little bit later, yeah, he gets lost, and he's like, "Which way to the castle? I've seen to have gotten lost." And she tells him, and then he just looks at her, and he's like, "Oh, okay," because he's kind of mesmerized by her beauty.
And this is shortly after like she's made the decision to stay in the moor like forever.
Yeah.
And Maleficent is watching this exchange from afar too, because she doesn't trust the boy. And I think what she does is she actually goes and gathers the boy up, and the crow turns into the horse, and
That's later on.
huh?
That's a little bit later after she falls asleep.
Yeah. Oh well, she's about to go to prick her finger.
Yeah, well, I mean, once
a needle,
when she tells her aunt she's gonna leave and stay there at the moors with Maleficent. Well, she didn't know her name.
What I'm trying to say.
The aunts went and told her what Maleficent did, and then that's when she found out that her friend was Maleficent, and that's when she got upset and left and rode, and she rode on the horse to the castle and told the told the guards that she was the princess, and then she went there, and then the king got mad that the fairies brought her a day early and demanded she go locked into her room, and then she tricked the maid into letting her out, and she went upstairs and ended up pricking her finger and she fell asleep, and
meanwhile, the
break
reason
the
why
curse, she ends up talking to the crow and realizing that maybe there is true love for Aurora, and she goes and finds the Philip, and she knocks him out and keeps him on his horse, and she turns the raven into a horse, and the crow into a horse, and she
I thought she gathered a young Philip up to try to stop her from pricking her finger.
Nope, it already happened.
Actually, I did find that a little confusing. I mean, she did seem to be in a hurry to get to the castle, as if she could do anything to prevent what's going to happen when she knew she couldn't after
Okay,
she.
yeah, you're right. She did try to go there, but while she was going there, she felt the curse happen, and so she realized it already happened. But she still wanted to get there quickly to save Aurora from the curse, in which she does.
And of course, the three fairies are there too, and they're like, kiss her.
They see Philip, and they bring him to the girl, and he's like Aurora, and and then he's like, kiss her. He's like, oh, but you say a curse, and like, just kiss her, and he's like trepidatious about it, and then finally, he does kiss her, and then they said you did it wrong. It's supposed to be true love's kiss, and they kick him out and they shut the door, and then Maleficent comes in. Maleficent comes in and she's, you know, over there, and you know she's talking, and then she tries to add. I think, like I said, she's trying to add that the whole kingdom was asleep. Like I said, just the way she worded what she said. I think that, and then she kissed her, and all of a sudden Aurora awoke, and that was true love's kiss. It was not true love as in true love from a lover. It was true love from like a mother type person, or a godmother type person, whatever you want to say.
Mm,
And
Well, yeah, they
yeah.
don't even say it, but her real mother actually dies.
Oh, they do say it. They
Okay.
do say it
uh,
that she does
y-
die at one point.
yes, yes, like there is this one moment of Stefan being kind of schizophrenic and talking to the wings,
Yeah,
and then a guard or whoever that was
yeah. He's
enters
like,
and
I'm
says,
can't you see I'm having a conversation? And of course, there was nobody there. Yeah.
"Yeah,"
But
and
so ultimately, after she wakes up, is when we get this moment where I think they uh, attempt to try to leave the castle together, and that's when they are set upon. Maleficent is netted by this like metal that they've been trying to like. I think it's the blacksmiths that have made this, and the shields are made of this metal, and it's like some
of
kind of
iron,
yeah, it's
iron.
iron, which is kind of weird because she's not a vampire, you know.
Uh, yeah, good point.
But
Yeah.
evidently,
Most of the time, that iron is not a vampire thing either. That was just added in some places.
yeah, evidently this metal kind of
Iron.
iron, whatever. It deters her from using her magic to its full extent, but she's able to turn the crow dude into a dragon, and it's at this point that Aurora actually stumbles upon the wings and like knocks over the wings, and
And food now.
right at the moment when you think that Maleficent is going to get like attacked by the king, um, her wings end up
Uh,
finding her, and
oh, actually, yeah, that's a very interesting moment. Like when the wings get attached to her back, we don't really see the wings. We only see her facial expression, and for a moment, we are led to think that Stefan stabbed her. But
I didn't think that.
how did you know? The first time you
I'm
watched
just
it.
good. I just didn't think that. Not at all.
Mm,
well, the intent is implied, uh, even if minimally. Regardless, she gets her wings back, which gives her more power, and she ends up flying around and unchaining the dragon, and basically, I believe she escapes from the. Um, that's right. The king. He ends up attaching something to her, like her feet or legs or something like that, and he gets dragged outside
mm,
the castle. She drops his ass on one of the turrets, and she puts his ass up against one of the backs of the walls, and first it looks like she's gonna like kill him, but then she's like, no,
She said this is over,
yeah.
and she turns her back, and he attacks her, and they all go flying off the turret, and finally she ends up flying off, and he just keeps going down and falls
Well,
to
and
his
he
death.
drops fast.
Yeah, but she wasn't
Mhm.
planning on. She wasn't intending on killing him. It was he did that
Yeah,
himself.
indeed.
So,
That's also an interesting change. Although it did leave me wondering this time, which I somehow didn't notice earlier, but in that moment, Stefan was wearing a lot of iron made things. And
yeah.
earlier, when he was a kid, like he accidentally hurt her with a simple
Well, yeah. So
ring
he
he
knew that that
had
was her weakness.
on his finger, and now she was able to fight him while he was all
Well,
dressed
because
in
she's
iron.
older. Like the first time she got burnt by the iron, she didn't even know that would happen. So she was shocked, and she was probably more shocked than hurt at first. I'm sure it still hurt her later on, but she was able to bear through the pain. Just like Superman with kryptonite.
I guess.
Like the first time he comes across kryptonite, it's like, what the hell is this? And then later on he starts becoming a little stronger to it. Still hurts and still, stops his power, but he learns to go through the pain and still be able to fight with it, even with kryptonite around.
Yeah.
It weakens him. It doesn't immediately kill him. You know.
Oh yeah. So after that, what happens here? I believe. Um, do you know what happens here?
Yes. She and Aurora leave. They go to live in the wars together, and Aurora supposedly becomes. I think they say the kingdoms are united, so supposedly, I guess Aurora became the queen of both
Oh, yeah, she was the
Stefan's
princess.
kingdom. Sorry, what did you say?
Well, she was the princess, so she was became the queen of her world, but because of her closeness with Maleficent basically said, you kind of like queen in this world realm too. So basically, they're accepting her as the queen of both worlds and uniting them together. And
Uh,
of course, if and they alluded to her marrying Philip, which would unite those two kingdoms with his kingdom as well.
yeah, like at the end, the prince appears again, and
Yeah,
it's implied that they would get to know each other better and probably fall in love, which does happen, as we know after seeing the second movie.
right. But we don't talk. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about what we
Okay,
see in this
okay,
one.
sorry.
Mhm.
Although it's
We
not
don't
really
talk
that
about no, no,
much.
no, no.
And that's
uh,
pretty much it. I mean, you see Prince Philip show up there at the end there as like part of this whole gathering because she crowns her with some kind of crown, and you see all the creatures gathered around. It's kind of a Star Wars ending, you know. uh,
yeah. And
but yeah, I guess at this moment we're at production.
Yeah, the ending was very magical.
yeah, like after Maleficent was turned evil, she turned the whole wars somewhat darker than it had been, and then at the end it went all back to its original form.
Yeah, the way it was when she was a kid. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
and
found
Yeah,
it's
she
like I said, it's
found
like
the
it's very magical.
She found the
because
love
they're,
in her heart again.
yep, so everything looks pretty.
Purdy.
Alrighty. So, since you're the host, why don't you tell us?
Y-
What
yes.
did you think of the production?
I thought the production was amazing, as we have already somewhat discussed it at the beginning. But yeah, everything was amazing. Like the creatures, the special effects, when magic is used. And I also really loved Maleficent's outfits in this version. In the old Sleeping Beauty, she was always dressed the same. Like this is a doll based on the animated version of her, and yeah, it also came with this Aurora doll. Yeah, I happen to have some crazy stuff inside. Like this movie so much, but yeah, in this. Sorry, what did you say?
I was just laughing.
Oh, yeah. In this version, I really loved this outfit of hers, which she wore when she came to curse the baby. This outfit was amazing. You probably know I am very much into cosplay, and I would absolutely love to have a robe like this in my cosplay collection. I don't care that it's for a female character. I would still love to have it. And yeah, her other outfits were amazing
I
too.
bet you would.
Uh, Sorry, what?
I said, I bet you would love to dress up like the girl, little princess.
Uh, Sorry, what? Like the princess? I didn't
I
understand.
said, I bet you like to dress up like the princess.
Uh, Not quite. I'd rather dress up like Maleficent. Thanks.
Okay.
Although you have dressed like total evil.
Yes, yes, I have. Like Cruella de Vil and Samara from The Ring. So yeah, crossplay is not unknown to me. Uh, uh, and what else was I going to say about the production? I forgot, but yeah,
Sorry.
basically, it's fine. I like jokes. Everything was great as far as the production goes. I think I cannot complain about anything. This is probably one of the last Disney movies that were by all means perfect before they got contaminated with all the woke political correctness crap. Uh, So yeah, what do you guys think about the production? What about you, Crow?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you with the production. Everything was done great. The way everyone looked, and I like the fact that she didn't look the same. So when she actually did look like her animated version, it was that more awe-inspiring when she shows up at the grand celebration, and you see her flowing in there with that her long robe and dress, and the whole in the terrace behind her, flowing like a black shadow behind her, looks so magnificent and evil. It's just the way she walked in
Ooh,
there, just kind of flowed into the room, and just all eyes turned to her, and everyone was just hushed and quieted. And it seems it was like they knew that evil had just walked through the doors, and everyone was
oh
being
yeah.
quiet so evil
Ooh.
didn't find them. And it was just it looked so perfect. If she'd have been wearing that the whole time, it wouldn't have been as special when she showed up like that, seeing it, because you would have already expected to see it, even though you saw it in the cartoon. Just seeing it in live action, the way Angelina walked in like that, with majestically, with everything on her, she looked the part of the evil version of Maleficent, the version that we all heard about. So, um,
Well, well.
yeah, I think the production was just perfect. All costumes, I mean, the way everything was done, the production of the animals, the CGI, I mean, everything looked realistic and, I mean, super bright, but uh, just like a fairyland should look. If I ever stumbled upon a fairyland, I would expect it to look something like that, and it was awesome. You know, that's all I
Absolutely.
can say about it. It was just absolutely awesome and great. So, what about you, Tammy?
Oh, I thought the production was awesome too. I mean, all the little fairies and the little creatures, and especially those trees. Just I really like the trees,
They were
and
awesome.
her costume, like Leaf said, I like they changed her costume and there more than once, and she just and her wings, they looked they looked for real. They looked like they belonged on her. It was not just like somebody slapped some wings on her and
Yeah, it
away
looked
you
like
go.
she lost something when she lost the wings. It really felt like something was missing.
Right,
It
when the
did.
wings were gone, it really, yeah, I agree. It really felt like something was missing on her because it looked like the wings were really a part of her. They did such a good job with that area, and I like um how when she would change the crow into the human or whatever she was changing him into. You know, I
Uh,
like how it was done.
yeah, it was a crow, a human, a wolf, a horse. I think that, and a dragon. And I think that was it for this movie, at least.
Yeah, and human. Did you say
Yeah,
human?
he did not like being the wolf though.
No, he
I
hated the
don't ever
wolf.
turn me into a dog again.
That was a wolf. Same thing. Filthy animals.
But yeah, I think everything was very well rounded about all the effects and everything. It just
The dragon looked real too.
right, and I'm very critical about
Oh,
dragons.
I absolutely love dragons as well, and
So
Right.
I love when they look good. When they don't look good, it's like I fucked up the
I,
dragons.
Speaking of which, I have a dragon statue there in the background.
yeah,
Although that's not quite like the one from the movie. This is a seven-headed one.
Oh, Tiamat, you got
Uh,
Tiamat.
Sorry, what did you say?
So you got Tiamat,
TM. Sorry, I didn't understand that word.
Tiamat, Tiamat, Tiamat. That's a seven-headed
TM.
dragon.
Oh,
Let me see
oh,
it. Show it to us.
oh. Okay, give me a moment.
I want to see Tiamat. Hey, my Dragon Slayer's characters,
Uh,
worshiping Tiamat. Dave knows is why I was an incredible witness for his trial.
uh, so yeah, here is my seven-headed dragon
That's
statue.
awesome. I
Thank
want
you.
that. I want that.
It's a little heavy. I think
that's
it's made
cool.
of.
Well,
Thank you.
it's Tiamat. They may not
Mm,
call it Tiamat, but it's Tiamat.
I get it. And yeah, I also took this figure from there to show. As you
Oh,
guys have probably noticed, I usually put my owls there for each discussion. I put a different owl.
that's a
Not sure.
raven. That's the Raven
Yeah.
from Edgar Allan Poe. The Raven.
Oh, yeah. Well, usually I put this figure there instead of a novel when we discuss some movie about the devil or demons or something like that. But now I also put it there because I wanted something that would. Oh wow! Nice.
Twins. Twinsies.
Except my,
Oh, yours can be separated. This one cannot.
I've got no
Nice.
brains.
True.
Yeah, we
Oh,
all
Yeah.
know that. There you go.
If I
So
only had a brain. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
for this discussion, I wanted to have something that would at least somewhat resemble a crown, and this is the closest thing I have.
Yeah, the Raven is close to the crow.
Yeah.
I started calling the crow a raven earlier when we was talking. I stopped myself, but
and I thought the
Um,
production was pretty good. I do like the castle scenery. I do like the way the trees were made, and I do like the C. The CGI on this film was spectacular. I mean, it really was.
yep.
Um,
uh,
there are not a lot of
the-
films that I will say that to because most CGI just sucks.
Sucks.
well, I would say
I
it was.
tend to like practical effects more than I do CGI. So,
I don't mind CGI, but a lot of people feel that way.
but yeah, thought the creatures and the world of the fantasy and the world of the Moor and the different colors. While the forest of the Moors was dark when Aurora was like checking things out, and um, things of that nature, and just the way that um, I did like her wings. I thought those were kind of cool. They kind of reminded me of like Lucifer's wings.
Oh, unholy shit! How did I not think of that comparison? Very nice.
Well,
And we
you remember.
call ourselves Lucifer fans.
Well, remember his wings. He'd like rip them off and like kept them hanging somewhere.
Yeah.
They kept growing back.
Uh, yeah, uh, yeah, that was a little bit convoluted. In the first season, he cut them off and he kept them somewhere, and they weren't growing back. But in the third season, they did grow back every time he
Well, there
cut
was a
them off.
reason they were growing back then. If you watch the season, you'll figure it out.
Uh, well, yeah, right. Uh, so. Have we all said what we were going to about the production, or did anyone not say everything yet?
Yeah, well done. You were it.
Yep. You were first, and then Crow went, and then Tammy went, and
Tammy.
then I went. So I
Oh,
think we're done on production. So I think the next
yes.
thing is music.
Oh, yeah. So, what do you all think about the music? What about you, Kroll?
Oh, it was great. Especially loved the end song of that
Ooh,
they did. Yeah, I think the music was just top notch. Everything was great. Sounded perfect. Everything was where it was supposed to be. Yeah, it was really well done, and the voices were really good. Like I said, I love the. I listened to the song at the end credits, which I don't typically do. I mean, sometimes I'll do, but not a lot. But I did this time, and it was really well done.
Uh, Indeed. Mm. What about you, Tammy?
I think the music was good. I think it went with it and helped. Was helped with whatever scene was going on and everything. It flowed with it perfectly. I don't think it was overdone, or I don't think it took away from anything at all. It I think it just helped everything along.
Yeah, and kind of glad that they didn't make this like a movie musical. That it was
Oh,
more of
Me too.
a movie,
me too.
and then they saved the song that she sang in the forest in the original Sleeping Beauty. I know you, if only once upon a dream. You know, they had
Mm,
her sing it, and then they had the prince sing it. When when he showed up in the
mm,
animation, but I'm glad that they saved it for the end, at least in this one, because
Yeah.
there's so much to readapt for
yeah,
this
th-
film.
that's much better. In the original, they added all the singing and a lot of irrelevant stuff like the pixies squabbling with each other. Yeah, pun intended, Dave.
But
Your
if there
Dixie.
was squabs, it would have been funny.
Right?
Well, at least I'm
Hey.
a cooked squab. I'm not an overcooked or undercooked.
Squab.
Squab.
uh, so
Alrighty,
yeah,
favorite
uh,
scenes, everyone. Starting with you, uh, Boris.
uh, my favorite scene would probably be the scene when Maleficent casts the curse. I think I already said how much I loved that scene. Yeah, her presence there was just magnificent, and that costume she was wearing, and the attitude, how she was. Kind of like looking down on everyone, and when the pixies tried to stop her, and she just waved her hand and threw her into some box. uh,
Threw them into a
uh,
box. Yeah.
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah. She waved her hand and threw them into a box.
Yeah, and when she got Stefan to kneel, only not to really do what he wanted.
Oh, I love how she said, "Oh, all right." Love's true
Uh,
kiss, and the way she looked at him, like, it's just like,
yeah,
that there's no such thing, and it's just like, yeah, it was just kind
when
of
she said
a thing.
I like you begging,
Yeah,
and
I like to
also
do it again.
yeah, the my close second favorite scene would be, well, obviously when she wakes Aurora up, and yeah, all these moments between Maleficent and Diamo, which, okay, you guys didn't see what I saw there, but yeah, I kind of shipped them together. And also, what was I going to say? Yeah, one thing I was going to say about the music before we went to favorite scenes. In this scene, when she wakes Aurora up, I'm not sure if it happens before or after she wakes her up, but this time I didn't notice it earlier when I watched the movie, but this time I noticed background melody that kind of sounded like. The song A Thousand Years by Christina Perry. Not sure if the similarities may be coincidental or intentional, but uh, that seemed that seemed like an interesting song to add in that scene. Um, and also, I forgot to mention earlier, I found it really funny when the prince was supposed to kiss her, and he was like, "But you say she is cursed." He was like, as if he was afraid he would get an STD if he kissed her.
Yeah, he seemed afraid to kiss her. So, who's your favorite character?
Well, yeah, my favorite character, of course, Maleficent, but my close second favorite character is Diaval. Like, if I was in that movie, I could kind of imagine myself being him. Uh, if I had someone like Maleficent by my side, I would probably be like him. Uh, And yeah, what about you guys?
Well, I guess my favorite scene is I actually like that first battle. That's one of my favorite scenes. That first battle, she go and when she asks for their help and like the trees come up and that snake thing comes out and and they just whoop them guys without
Oh
even
yeah,
trying. Then she goes
and
flying through them like nothing.
uh,
That first
uh,
battle scene is just awesome.
yeah, and we
That's
forgot to mention. Yes. Uh, Sorry, I interrupted
so that
you.
so that's basically my favorite scene is that first battle scene. Just everything.
Uh,
Favorite
It's just so
character?
cool.
yeah.
My favorite character, I
Yes.
like Diaval.
Ah,
He's my favorite character.
how come?
I like how he changes. I like how he nurtured the little Aurora. I like how he's basically Maleficent's conscience. I just
He's a
I
great
love
character.
how he I love how his character is worked through the whole movie, and he's kind of like everybody in a way. Everybody's helper, and they don't even realize it. You know.
Mm, yeah, good point.
So
I.
I
Uh,
remember you, Pretty Bird.
plus
yeah,
when he's a
and
plus when he's a human, he's not bad to look at either. So
mm, yeah, and I forgot to actually say what I like about Maleficent's personality so much. Shame on me. What I really like about her as a character is that union of opposites that she is. As on one hand, she can be completely cruel and merciless with her enemies. I That's one thing we forgot to mention. The scene when Aurora was walking around the wall of thorns and Stefan's soldiers attacked and she threw them all away like it's nothing. Uh,
Oh,
that was
she threw them up in the air like they were in a tornado or something.
yeah. That was also brilliant. And yeah, what I was going to say, just as cruel as she can be with her enemies, she can be just as gentle and loving with those she cares about. And that's actually something I wish was more common in real life women. Uh,
okay,
okay.
Carl.
Well, my favorite scene is what Philip said is the Curse Castle, and not just that. Like I said, the whole scene where you see her in her uh, animated outfit, whatever you want to call it. Just the way she walks in and everything is quiet and hushed, and oh, everyone's looking at her, and she just flows into the room, and she walks up to there, and the whole dialogue with her saying, "Oh, I wasn't invited," and says, "Welcome," and then her saying she's gonna give the baby a gift, and them not wanting it, and then them her, oh, I love to hear you beg, do it again, and then all right, love's true kiss, and the whole that whole exchange, and the casting was so great. I mean, the green swirls and the face and everything, which I mean we saw that in the animated, but the way they did it in real life, it came to life from the original, and they made it look so freaking great. And then a very close second is the dragon, because I absolutely fucking love dragons.
Oh.
The dragon looked great, and the dragon, breathing fire. Fortunately, we didn't get to see too much of the dragon. Now, the dragon did not really look like the animated version of the dragon, um, but it definitely looked like a dragon. It definitely looked like a dragon that we
Oh
know.
yeah, the dragon was awesome.
The dragon was awesome. I
Yeah.
would like to see what they would have done on making a dragon look like the animated version. I don't know if that was harder or why they didn't do that, but I would like to see that actually too. But the dragon was pretty awesome, and my favorite character is Maleficent. Again, like you said, her duality. Um, she can be the sweetest, nicest thing, protector of the forest, who's this evilest, you know, thing that curses a baby and wreaks havoc everywhere.
Oh.
Um, but there seems to be a reason. So she's more human than she would like to admit, because she goes through the same emotions, except for she never has the greed for power and stuff, but she definitely has love, and she definitely has the hate and everything. So she has all the other emotions. She just never was affected by greed or power. Um,
Well, it's kind of easy for her not to be greedy for power when she already has all the power she can possibly need.
True, true. But she was never greedy. Like, oh, what do the humans have? Let's take over the humans' land so we can have what they have. She never wanted to do
Indeed.
that. She just wanted to keep to herself and keep the forest safe. And at first, the forest was open to humans. It wasn't like they just didn't really usually go there, but it was open. It wasn't closed off. And then afterwards, that's when she closed it off and put the thorns up and made it so that they couldn't get through. Um, but at first it wasn't. So she changed because of what had happened to her. And then she kind of changed back because she found love in her heart again, for Aurora, the same baby that she had cursed.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave?
Well, I'm trying to think, because I did like a lot of various different scenes, but I would have to say my favorite character was the Crow. Um,
Ooh.
Even though I like Maleficent as Maleficent, I do think that shape shifting creatures are very cool, and I thought that what he could change into, or what they changed him into,
Oh, she
was
changed him into it.
spectacular. I
So
mean,
you like him because of all the stuff she did to him.
yeah, I do. I mean,
Because it was
I
her
wish I
power
could
that
do.
did it.
I wish I could do what he could do.
But he couldn't do it. It was her. Her the power that did it.
I know, but still,
So it should be her as your favorite character because she was the one that was doing it.
true. But I still liked it. I mean,
I
I
mean, I
still.
like the Crow myself. I'm not saying he's a great character. But
But
Definitely.
favorite scene, I would have to say would probably be. I think the two moments are when she actually does place the curse, and when she finally gets her wings. Is
Ooh.
when she gets her wings back.
Yeah, when she gets wings back, and the dragon and all that jazz. Those are my two favorite scenes. And I do in fact like the fact, that it was a mother's kiss instead of the true love kiss, because it does kind of bring it a little bit of a different tale, you know. So
Yeah, I mean, it's
Mm,
still true love's kiss. It just wasn't the true love that most people thought of.
yeah. Yeah, it kind of shows that love can
A
come in
different
many.
type of love.
Yeah.
That's like in Xena when Seacrop was cursed until he found true love. True love will set him free, and he finally figured out that the true love was within his love for others, not their love for him. So
Oh, interesting.
oh yeah,
And I also forgot to say another scene I really liked was when Maleficent tried to revoke the curse, although it didn't work, but still the idea was there. We saw what she wanted to do, and actually, that's an aspect of the movie that I really like. How much emphasis was put on her regretting what she did in the past, and how it shows what we can do in a moment of being under the influence of our emotions, like the way
yeah,
she was when she cast the curse, and how later on we may regret our actions and want to do as much as we can to minimize the damage. That was an aspect of the story and of her character that I really liked.
yeah, I agree.
oh yeah. So is that pretty much it?
Oh, I guess. Did anyone else have anything to add about the movie?
I don't think so, at least for me. Um, Anyone else?
Oh,
No, we covered everything.
you tell me.
I'm good.
Alrighty.
Uh, just a moment. I wanted to say one more thing, actually, maybe not say, but show. Aside from these Maleficent dolls that you have seen, there is also a third one that I have that I didn't have a moment to show. This one, it's kind of similar to this one. Not sure, maybe on the camera you cannot tell the difference, but
Uh,
there.
Looks like there's a difference in brooches.
Yeah, and in the makeup a bit. Unfortunately, they are both Chinese knockoffs, but still.
Not
Oh,
bad.
No,
yeah.
definitely not bad.
This one
At least
and
it isn't Maleficent in kimonos.
what? Where did you get that
I
from?
was. At least it's not Maleficent in kimonos.
Yeah,
That
I
that
heard
is
you,
the
but
that is the specific dress wear that women wear in China.
Japan. Yeah, I know, but how did you come up with the idea of Maleficent wearing that?
Well, because you said those are Chinese knockoffs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, kimonos are from Japan, but yeah. But these two dolls are not knockoffs. They are official Disney products. I got them at a local store a few years ago.
Ah,
Uh, yeah, but unfortunately, these ones that were based on the live action design, I didn't end up getting the real one. It was a
I just
little
keep
too expensive.
I just keep hearing Jeff Dunham's peanut in my mind. He plays with dolls.
Well, not just any dolls, but when there is a doll of a character I grow very fond of, then yeah, I do buy it. Uh,
In any case, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed our discussion on this film, and we'll definitely be coming back next week with a film that was rolled by the dice. Uh, Control. Did you want to tell us a little bit about it, or did you want to leave the audience in suspense?
Well, what Dave was talking about is I had quite a few movies in my mind that I wanted to do, and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. So I said, why don't I go and take an eight-sided die, and each number will represent a decade, starting from 1940 to 2010. Um, and and I rolled 80s, which is funny because I love the 80s. I grew up in the 80s, and yeah, so it's my favorite decade. So it's kind of funny. And then I was like, let's roll for genre, and I took a six-sided. I took from five genres, and I figured if I roll a six, I would just roll again. I didn't roll a six. I rolled a five, which I had chosen would be a romantic comedy. So it would be a romantic comedy from the 1980s. So then I went. My friend Mo mentioned a movie, romantic comedy that he said was hilarious, and he thinks American Pie was kind of based on it, which sounded really good. But then I also looked through online and found 14 of the best romantic comedies. Now, another suggestion Mo said is something, maybe it should be something that I haven't seen before, which I like that idea. So I looked through the top 14, found two on there. Actually, number 14, um, and number one, I had not seen either one of those at Broadcast News and Valley Girl. I forgot what the name of the movie Mo showed me, but told me about. But Valley Girl ended up winning. I rolled the die six-sided for that, given two numbers to each, and Valley Girl won. So Valley Girl, with a very young Nicolas Cage, will be our movie next week. And I think I may have seen this, but I don't remember seeing it. So I don't think I did. So I'm not really sure, but that will be the movie next week, and I believe everybody here has not seen it, so it'll be interesting. Everyone's opinion on the movie that we're all seeing for the first time from the 80s. And 80s, it did have some great romantic comedies. So
Yep, and what's interesting is that they actually remade this in 2020. So
did they?
yeah, that
This
I do
was
know.
this was done in 1982.
Yep. But in any case, like, share, and subscribe. Hopefully, let us know down in the comments what you thought of our discussion. And maybe if you like, you can let us know some of your some films that you'd like us to cover, or something like that in the near future. So thank you for listening, and everyone say good night.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, John Boy.